Hi, I'm Frankie and I'm originally from the Philippines.
I'm Hanouf and I'm from Saudi Arabia.
We're both students at Simmons College and we're here to tell you about our experience as international students. My first question for Hanouf is, how long did it take you to get over the initial culture shock?
I wouldn't really call it a culture shock, but I had to get used to certain things that I didn't have back home. The tea, the food, but it didn't take long if you make it like a habitual thing where you constantly write the tea or you ask people for help. Usually they just give you help. It maybe took me a couple of months to actually get used to everything. How about you?
What struck me most is taking the tea and how it's just like so easily accessible, because in the Philippines you have to drive everywhere or take public transportation that like isn't really super reliable.
We don't really have public transportation, so to me this is the most amazing thing ever.
Yeah.
What did you expect Boston to be like, and did it compare to your expectations?
I had never been to Boston. I had only been to the West Coast. People kept telling me, oh, like people on the East Coast are a little bit colder. They're not as friendly as people in California. But then I got here and I didn't really see that at all. I feel like people are just as friendly here as they are on the West Coast. What about you?
Well, I came here 4 years ago to visit my sister who was going to Babson, and I didn't like it. I thought it was so boring. But then when I came to study here, and the only place I applied to was Simmons, because it's the only place that I fell in love with here, it was exactly how my sister described it to be, which is very catered to students. Everything has discounts and almost everybody's a student, so you have a lot of like connections with people and it's easy to meet people.
I remember when I first came here, I was like freaking out over all of the things that I didn't know how to do. Where was I gonna get linens, or how was I gonna get a cell phone or a bank account? But it was pretty easy. They make it pretty accessible for international students.
Yeah, there's a lot of information they give to international students. When I first came here, they gave us a tour to where to buy our things and where's the bank and stuff like that. And you can always ask someone, and everybody was happy to help.
How long did it take you to adjust to being away from home?
When I came to Simmons, it was hard, but you get to meet people and the time flies so fast because you're so busy with school and work. Don't be so discouraged in the first, I would even say, few months if you don't make close friends. It's totally okay, and nobody really is making any close friends at that point. Everybody's trying to get to know each other. How about you?
When my parents were here and like helping me get settled in, I was like, oh yes, can't wait for you guys to leave. I'm so excited to like be on my own. And then the night before they left, I like couldn't stop crying. I guess I just like didn't realize that this is real. Like they're going to leave and I'm gonna be here alone in like an entirely new city. But once you got over that initial separation anxiety, I think it was mostly just fun to like get to know yourself as like an independent person in an entirely new city.
So do you have any advice for international students who want to come here?
I tried not to be afraid to ask questions. Hey, I mean, I'm in a new country. I have to be asking questions. And I think acknowledging that and not being ashamed of it either. Sometimes you might feel dumb for like asking a question that like every American knows, but you have to keep in mind that you are in a different country and you should be allowed to ask questions and make mistakes. What about you?
Like you said, don't be afraid in asking questions. Everybody here wants to help, to be honest. Go meet international students. They are the biggest help out there. A lot of questions that we have don't really apply to Americans, so they don't know how to answer.
What is your favorite thing about Simmons?
My God. A lot of things. I mean, I'm very biased because this is the only place that I wanted to go. It was much better than I expected. The community is so wonderful. It's so comfortable. Everybody's so nice. What about you?
I would have to agree. Even as someone who had been living in the US before I came to Simmons, our organization, MISO, was really valuable to me because it was the first time I had ever seen a gathering of so many people from so many different backgrounds who, again, like, weren't afraid to ask questions because it was a completely safe space of just international students. It was ultimately like that community that makes the Simmons experience really valuable.